What's up everyone, welcome back to another What If video. In the last part, we covered how the Saiyans were all training and coming up with a plan to defeat Frieza once and for all, with as little risk to themselves or other planets as possible. After spending some time thinking and training, the group figured out that they could lure Frieza to them by using the Dragon Balls, or at least lying to Frieza about them having found the Dragon Balls. At the end of the last part, I left it up to a poll for you guys to decide whether their plan goes smoothly or blows up in their faces completely. And judging by the poll, a large majority of you said that their plan would end up going smoothly. At least at first it does. There are some things that they didn't really expect to happen. Let's get into it. One day, with nothing particularly keeping him busy, Frieza suddenly gets an urgent call from Vegeta. They found something that Frieza might be interested in. On another remote planet near the one they've been living on, they ended up finding something strange. A Namekian. They came up with the really weird story about how this Namekian has somehow gotten there from Namek, and has been traveling the galaxy to find another potential planet for the Namekians in case they ever need to relocate. And by visiting these planets, he ended up planting Dragon Balls on them due to his mysterious powers. It's obviously very suspicious that Frieza, a random Namekian, was near the Saiyans somehow and had Dragon Balls. But Frieza trusts his gut this time and decides that this couldn't go too poorly. These Saiyans might be telling the truth. As far as he knows, the Saiyans are far too weak anyways to try and betray him by tricking him like this. So maybe they're being honest, and if they are betraying him, he could just kill them pretty easily. They supposedly found one Dragon Ball so far, and after finding the Namekian, they find out about what the Dragon Balls are and the fact that they are on this close planetoid. However, they haven't fully explored it, and the Namekian told them this planet might be dangerous for people to be on. When the Saiyans visited before, their scouters didn't work on it, which is why they're telling Frieza now that they're off that planet. One thing that's important about this planet is that they selected it for the attack because it actually has its own moon. They've waited for weeks and now know that the moon will be full tonight, so this is the perfect opportunity for them to attack. They claim they don't know what to expect from this planet, and they wanted to tell the Frieza Force so they can take care of it and ensure Lord Frieza gets what he wants. Frieza ends up taking the bait, and he begins to head there with his forces. The plan is now in motion, no turning back. Their first goal is to pick off Frieza's forces, which isn't that hard at all. With a combination of some military experience from Paragus, as well as a quick call to Bulma from Goku, the group was able to create a jammer intended to throw off the scouters and make them ineffective, cutting off communication and power level scanning completely. They've planted the jammer somewhere on this planet to make Frieza's scouters useless. Alongside this, Frieza will most likely have everyone split up to search for the Dragon Balls. This will draw them away from Frieza himself or large groups, and the Saiyans could silently strike and take Frieza's army out covertly. With no scouters, no one will even know that people are dying. And on top of that, they won't know the true power of the Saiyans. With preparations in place, Frieza arrives to the planet greeted by Vegeta and his crew. As the de facto leader of the Saiyans, and the one who's known Frieza for the longest, Vegeta ends up giving Frieza the rundown. They warn him that the scouters don't work on this planet for some reason, and that even with the scouters, they couldn't find the Dragon Balls anyways. They have to just rely on their eyes for now. They also present Frieza with a fake Dragon Ball that they've crafted, and claim that there's 6 more. Frieza is still suspicious about this, especially with the fact that their scouters may not work. But to reassure him, Vegeta gives Frieza the Dragon Ball as well as saying he can accompany Frieza, since he's the strongest Saiyan here and their leader. As far as Frieza knows, this is true. Last he heard, Vegeta was the strongest of them, and by having Vegeta with him, he's basically a hostage. If anything goes wrong, he could just finish off Vegeta and call the Ginyu Force in to wipe out the rest so he doesn't have to deal with them. Frieza has his own group, and he sends out 5 other groups alongside it, so there's 1 group per ball. Given that he sees the Saiyans as weaklings still, other than Vegeta, they all hang back. While scouters don't work, the Saiyans can all obviously sense ki now. After getting far enough away, Vegeta slightly raises his ki so the other Saiyans know that it's a signal to go now. The Saiyans go in groups of their own. One group is Goku, Gohan, and Piccolo, then Gine, Raditz, and Turles, then Shallot and Giblet, Nappa and Tarble, and finally, Paragus and Broly. Using their ability to sense ki, they're able to catch up to the other groups and sneak up on them. High-ranking soldiers like Zarbon and Dodoria aren't even an issue for them, they're able to take out the other groups that Frieza sent as well. While these groups weren't really that strong in comparison, it's important that the Saiyans kill these groups so less people got in their way or tipped Frieza off about them. Vegeta is closely monitoring the groups by sensing the ki around them, and is still a little concerned, but is happy to sense that the groups have successfully taken out their targets. I mentioned before that this planet has a moon, however, it's not exactly nighttime yet. the plan actually went a little faster than normal. Frieza's growing impatient, and they need to stall him for a bit longer. It's no worry though, as they've prepared for this. Once again, Vegeta decides to give out another signal, which this time is intended for Piccolo, who then heads over to a location near Vegeta and Frieza, waiting for them to find him. With Piccolo around, he acts as a decoy to stall Frieza. Vegeta and Frieza keep flying around until they eventually, accidentally quote-unquote, stumble upon Piccolo, which was really just Vegeta sensing him around here. Obviously at this point, after hours of searching, Frieza is getting a little bit impatient, and is beginning to doubt Vegeta. But those doubts go away since he sees the Namekian is actually here, and then he proceeds to grab him with the intent of torturing him for the information on the Dragon Balls. Yeah, he's still kinda angry and he wants to take it out on someone. Piccolo, however, tells him that the Dragon Balls are scattered at random, so he doesn't know where they are at all. And if Frieza were to hurt him or kill him, the Dragon Balls would disappear, since they're linked to Piccolo. Piccolo also comes up with another lie, saying that he's the key to the Dragon Balls, and they would need him there to actually activate them. At this point, Frieza's still pretty angry, but the plan is going smoothly and as expected, and he's calmed down now that there's a Namekian here. Piccolo ends up joining Vegeta, and they follow him along with some other soldiers that followed, and head behind Frieza to search for the rest of the Dragon Balls. They're really close now. They just need him to search for a few more hours, and then they'll be all set. They could have one person create a Power Ball, but that would end up draining their power, and they don't really want that now. They need as much power as they can get, so they'd rather wait for the moon. In the meantime, the other groups meet with each other and close in on Frieza, but they don't get too close. They just prepare to strike and follow somewhat far behind. After some more fruitless searching, the moon begins to rise. They were able to successfully take out Frieza's army and stall him long enough for the moon to come up. Now with the first parts of the plan complete, they finally arrive to the final part, collectively becoming Great Apes and killing Frieza. While searching another area that they found while looking around, Frieza hears an explosion behind him that ends up alerting him. All of his forces, well at least the ones that were with him, end up getting wiped out quickly, and Vegeta and Piccolo also jump back from this and they fly towards the group. Now that they're all together again, and the moon is rising, it's time to strike. Frieza is furious that he was tricked and that he actually fell for this, so he attempts to call his soldiers and the Ginyu Force as well, but his scouter still doesn't work, so he's all alone. He has to handle this by himself. But he doesn't really care. He's not worried, and this might be fun for him. These monkeys are all weak, and he could easily take them out. Last time he checked, Vegeta was the strongest and at most could only be at 50,000 right now for a power level, but he's badly mistaken. It might be an easy fight, but Frieza can at least take pleasure in taking out the rest of the Saiyans. Now that they're all together, the group collectively turns around and looks towards the moon, and they all begin to transform into Great Apes. Frieza still isn't scared, but then the group attacks him, and without even trying, they're able to badly hurt him. Frieza in his first form is only at 530,000, and one Great Ape alone is more than double of that, even someone like Gine or Paragus. And that's not even mentioning the more powerful ones like Goku, Vegeta, Broly, those guys. Frieza's getting beaten around pretty quickly and pretty badly, and he doesn't have time to transform, but he realizes his form won't be enough. Once he finally gets an opening to transform, he knows that his second form won't be enough, so he jumps straight to his third form and tries to use that. He might be able to match one Great Ape in this form, but he's still outnumbered and overpowered. After testing out this form for himself, he realized that this still isn't enough, and these Great Apes are more powerful than he expected. He's actually somewhat impressed that these simple monkeys came up with this plan, and they could have defeated him easily, with no risk at all, if he didn't have another transformation after his third form. Wanting to finish this, he powers up to his final form, and goes to 50% power, and the group realizes that they're now in trouble. In this form at 50% power, he's at a power level of 60 million, and even if you combine the power of all the Great Apes, that far outclasses the entire group. It's too late for them to back down now. They've already hurt him enough though, and they've tired him out a little bit while he was in his first form, so his power isn't as potent as before. As Great Apes, they're able to take him on and put up a good fight with their synergy, with Piccolo watching from the sidelines since he's pretty far outclassed at this point. Frieza is getting tired of this nonsense and remembers something. The moon is what they use to transform. He wonders, maybe if he takes out the moon, then they'll transform back to normal. Frieza begins to laugh and he points his finger towards the moon. In one quick blast, he completely destroys it. Meteors and rubble fall to the planet, turning it into a fiery wasteland, and the Saiyans all return to their normal forms. They're in trouble now. Even without Great Ape, 5 Saiyans can still utilize the power of it: Goku, Vegeta, Broly, Raditz, and Turles. As I mentioned in the last episode, they studied the wrathful form as they saw it could be useful, and while they still can use this power, just the 5 of them are still not enough to fend off Frieza. Even all of the Great Apes together weren't enough. Frieza feels that it is a pity. He expected a good fight, but now he's ready to torture these fools and finally rid them for good. He scans for his first target. Before he can do so, the 5 Saiyans attack him and he dodges effortlessly. He then sees some potentially weak targets for him to kill first. These guys might not be that fun to torture because they wouldn't even be able to survive it, so he'd rather just take out the weaklings right away. He has a few options in his sight. One of them is a female Saiyan who hasn't really been fighting as well as the others, even when she was a Great Ape. And then another is a little bit older Saiyan who seems a little weak by himself too. He then sees another short Saiyan whom he knows is Vegeta's brother, and he also sees a child there. And while he could easily kill the child, which is obviously Gohan, he doesn't want to because he wants to set an impression on him and not to mess with the Frieza force. He might leave him as the sole survivor. Well, if he's lucky. As for the other 3, he could all take them out one by one, or just fire a blast killing them all at once. So now I'm going to leave it up to a poll. Of the Saiyans who aren't fighting right now, who does Frieza end up targeting for death? Guinea, Paragus, Tarbell, or all of the above? Vote in the poll and decide what happens in the next part. Who did you vote for and why? What will happen because of it? What did you guys think about this part, and do you think the Saiyans will be successful next time or not? Comment your thoughts below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and hit the bell icon for notifications of future parts to this What If and other videos of mine. Thank you all for watching, and as usual, I'll see you on the next one.